Welcome guys, HaKDMoDz here with lesson 6 of the C++ playlist. Today we'll be covering coupling and cohesion with calling functions and do while with case switches. So this is the basic application that we'll be creating. Okay, so it outputs a menu style with user input available for I, which will display title, M will display measurement converter, and T will display the temperature converter. These are all internal functions within the C++ compiled program. I've selected M for the input and it's displayed millimeters converter to inches. Okay, I've entered a number, 500 is converted to inches, 100 is converted to inches, so that works perfectly. And that function has been called. Okay, so now we'll input another letter into the menu. And we'll be using T for the temperature converter program. Okay, so what amount of degrees would you like to convert from Celsius to Kelvin and Fahrenheit? Okay, so I've entered 100 degrees and it's output how much degrees in Fahrenheit and Kelvin it will be. Okay, so that's what we'll be basically creating in this lesson. So first off, open up a blank code blocks page and we'll start with the include pound statement with the IO stream header. Now Control and S or Alt F and go down to Save As will bring up a text box where you can save your dialogue and location. Remember the file extension must be .cpp for the compiler to run successfully. Okay, we'll be using namespace standard and set up an int main function. This is the entry point for the program. This is the first section that we're trying to run. We'll be setting up some constant double variables. The first one will be constant double inches. Inch we'll call it. Now if you're doing a different program, not this one but just following this as an example, that's where you'd name your own variable and set your own variable with a constant. Okay, next we're doing double in millimeters is the variable name, and we'll do another one called results. Okay, now we're going to do a simple cout statement. Enter the amount in millimeters that the user wishes to convert. Okay, end that statement with a semicolon or a arrow towards the statement with end line colon. Now we'll be doing a sin, which is the input from the user, and we'll be inputting into the millimeters variable. So, and then next we'll be doing a capture, which is results equals millimeters divided by inches. This is the formula to convert millimeters into inches. Next we'll be doing a cout statement with millimeters as the output, and then we'll be doing a string with millimeters equals in degrees, not degrees, sorry, wrong program, in millimeters, and then we'll be displaying the result. So millimeters is the value, and then the string is millimeters, so it'll display a value in numeric, and then millimeters with the result in inches as a string. Okay, so next we'll be doing a go to start. We'll erase this in a second when we'll be doing a do while switch, but for now, because in this program our objective is to create multiple functions within an internal program. Okay, I'll be teaching how to do comments. So comments are anything that won't be displayed in your program, and they're outside a double slash, but double forward slash. And you can write it. You'll notice that the text comes up in grey. This is the same with most applications for text editing and whatnot. Okay, so I'll just put in a simple couple of strings in comment form to output to you guys what I'm doing for each line. So in case you miss whatever I've said, you can read the comment as well. Okay, so I'll just finish typing this comment out. Note that making these comments is a little bit longer in the video duration, but it might help you learn a little bit more. Okay, so each line I'll put a comment. Okay, so within this program, the objective is we're putting 3 programs into one and using callback functions. This is called coupling and cohesion. Okay, so we'll be cutting this set of this function from within the main function, and we'll be inserting it into its own new function, which will be an application within the program. And we'll be calling it void measurement converter as the variable name for the function, so that we can use callback to return that program when the user selects an input. Okay, so next we're doing another function called void temperature converter. Void is the structure of the function. So within this temperature converter function, we will be first off starting with a loop. I might do the loops at the end of the lesson so that you can just basically get the functions created inside their own void structure first. Okay, so no point running before we walk. Okay, so I'll just add a few more comments per line. Okay, so first off we've got double, and we're declaring a double variable with Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin as single variables, and they're double data types. So after that we'll be doing a simple cout statement, and we'll be outputting what amount of degrees Celsius would you like to convert. Okay, I'll just finish this comment. Okay, now once the user selects enters the degrees in Celsius, it'll be input with the sin command into Celsius variable. In this lesson we'll also be learning a bit more about error debugging using the build log. That'll come later though. Okay, so next we'll be echoing a cout output statement using Celsius and with a new line, and then Celsius is going to output the variable's values that was stored to the Celsius. And we'll be using that separated by left arrows. And then so we're outputting cout Celsius as a string, and then Celsius, and then a string called degrees, stating degrees, and then we'll end that line. Okay, this will output Celsius as a string with the value. Okay, so next line we're declaring what Fahrenheit, how it obtains its value. So Fahrenheit equals Celsius multiplied by, and inside the internal brackets, which we're using the BOMDAS formula, which is brackets over multiplication divided by and addition and subtraction. So Celsius multiplied by internal brackets 9 divided by 5, and we'll close them brackets and the Celsius brackets and plus 32. I'll just finish this comment off. Okay. Next we'll be declaring what the value comes from to enter into Kelvin, and this will be the formula that converts Celsius to Kelvin. So Celsius plus 275, which is degrees, and that's the formula to convert Celsius to Kelvin. Okay, next we'll be echoing us outputting a cout statement with a new line and an extra new line. This is to break up the statement from that program. So then a Celsius string will be on the new line. Sorry, not a Celsius string, it'll be a Celsius value that's stored in Celsius. And then we'll do a string with degrees Celsius equals. So we're getting the value, and then we're outputting a string, so degrees Celsius, and then we're equals Fahrenheit, and then the value of Fahrenheit. Okay, next we'll do the same, and we'll end up with end line. The next line we'll be doing the same, but we'll be using Kelvin as the equation 2. Okay, I'll just quickly fix up these. If you got your variables, it's always best to set your second word in the variable with a capital letter to break up the string of the variable name. Otherwise, it's hard to read on the fly. So I'll quickly do that. If you need to, quickly get on with it. Okay, so the next cout statement will be Celsius degrees equals Kelvin degrees, and now put the value of Kelvin. Okay, I've left an error there on the second last line. We'll come back to that on the debug. That way you'll see where the error came from, and you'll already know that was the error. Okay, so now we're removing the go-to statement. We're going to add a new structure called do while. This do while will run this program multiple times until the user inputs an exit code. So do, and then we open the brace, and next to it line we declare any integers or variable data types, and then we do the while statement. And the while is the loop, so the do does the check until the exit code has been shown, and then it runs while until then. And we use the while with a condition. The condition is if Celsius equals 0, apostrophe Celsius equals 0, which means if Celsius does not equal 0, then we will not exit the return flag. But if it does, then that's the exit code. Okay, I'll quickly whack a few comments here in a second so you can follow. Okay, so the while we'll be doing one on the void measurement converter function as well. We'll be removing the go-to labels because they're primitive. So while apostrophe millimeters is not equal to 0, then we do the return. Okay, so we open up a new brace for while. We close off the brace, for the do while, and we close the brace for the while. Okay, next we'll be going to the int main, which is the data entry point for the application. So the first thing that the program's going to try and run is int main. It's the first function to be called, and inside that we can declare our functions that we would like to call. So as an example, I will call measurement converter. First you have to declare the measurement converter underneath namespace as a internal function. We end that with semicolon and brackets to end the function. Okay, so next inside the int main we'll be using the call function. Okay, we'll declare we'll get rid of a few of these errors first. So line 13 is I didn't have a semicolon on the end of the call. A call is when you call a function that's been declared. Okay, so on line 31 there was an error. I had an extra 5 there. Line 33, you see where the errors is. The red shows up and the line that's aligned with it. So go to start. We deleted that start label, so it doesn't exist. That's why that one's a problem. Okay, next because we use the do while loop instead of go to. So line 46 has an error expected before Fahrenheit. So we haven't used semicolons there. Okay, so we just add a semicolon and the function, which is left arrows. Okay, so we've nearly got rid of all the errors except for one. We haven't got a closing brace on the end of the program. Okay, and it's on line 54. You'll see that I'm inserting a new closing brace. This finishes the program off. Okay, so the compiler's ran successfully and its output enter an amount in millimeters. Okay, so that's because we've called millimeters converter function. Okay, so now I'll comment that out and I'll show you that we can call the second function instead because of the declaration that we've already made. Okay, so now temperature converter and open close brackets followed by semicolons, and now we've declared we're calling this function, which is what amount of degrees we'll be entering. And that all comes from that function void temperature converter or void measurement converter. Okay, so now I'll run it again so in case you didn't notice. Okay, so enter in millimeters, that's because I've got the measurement converter uncommented. If you want to comment something, block copy it and push Shift Control and C, and to uncomment is Shift Control and X. Or you can just do the double forward slash before the line. Okay, so now we'll be declaring a new function called void title, and go down to the bottom of your document and open a new void function. So enter void and the name of the function that you naming it, the variable name, the function name, sorry, and then open close bracket without semicolon because the function has not been closed yet. Okay, so now we'll be outputting a cout output statement. Okay, I'll have to start putting a few more comments on some of these lines soon. Okay, so we'll be ending that cout statement with 3 blank lines. As you know, the 3 slashes with the ends following is new line, new line, new line breakout characters. Okay, so next is cout, and we'll be putting 3 tabs, temperature and measurement converter application. So this is the title that's within the title function. This is what's going to be displayed to the user in an output statement. Next line we'll be putting cout, and we'll be just finishing the niceness off with a few asterisks and a few end lines at the end of them to give so that your text on the next line doesn't run straight after the asterisks. Okay, so that's void title function pretty much set up. I'll just add a few more comments to each of these lines so you can follow what's going on in case I've covered it too quickly. Okay, so this line here, Celsius and Celsius degrees, Fahrenheit degrees, will display as it says. The number, then degrees Celsius equals, and then the number of Fahrenheit variable, and degrees Fahrenheit. Same as the next line down, which will be Celsius value as equals degrees Celsius equals Kelvin, and then the degrees Celsius Kelvin degrees. Okay, so and then the while loop. We're declaring that while within the void function, void temperature converter function, that we will be doing this unless the flag has been returned with 0. Okay, so now within the void function, okay, this comment is stating that this is a void function and it's available for call whether we choose to or so. Okay. And then the return flag is exit code, as you know. Okay, so now that's pretty much got the comments covered for this lesson. There might be a few more. I will need to set up another function where the user gets the choice of what application they want to run within the program, whether it be the temperature converter, the measurement converter, or do they want to display the title of the application. Okay, so to do this, all we need to do is declare a new function with the function variable name, and we'll call it title. I'll just finish this comment off real quick. Okay, and these are the functions that we'll be calling, but we'll be deleting these in a second because we won't be calling one function after the other. We'll be first off calling the first function, which will be title, and then after that it will run the choice function that we haven't declared yet, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's finish this comment. These comments are only to make it simpler for learning. Okay, so int main, that's the main function, and it's the entry point for the program. It's the first section that the program is going to try and run after it reads the variables. Okay, then this void temperature, that's where we've declared void measurement converter as a void function. And I'll just quickly copy and paste that. Okay, now the next line is temperature converter, and it's a void function also that's available for call. Same as the next line, the last one is the title function. Let's quickly let you know that namespace is being used and IOStream pound include statement. Okay, so we'll be deleting those couple of comments in a second. Okay, so now we need to declare the title, the choice function. So do a few new blank lines at the bottom of your document, and we'll be doing void choices, and that's the function variable name, and with open close bracket with no semicolon to finish because the statement, the function hasn't been closed yet. And we'll be doing inside this, we'll be doing a switch with the case by case. So switch, and then the name of the variable, the condition, the switch, and then the condition within brackets, and then we'll be doing open close braces, and inside the open close braces we'll be doing case and then T, and then what's going to happen when T has been pushed, and we'll be entering a cout statement, which is you have chosen T, which is title, and then we'll close that with a break, semicolon. Okay, and the next case is each case, note that each case letter that we're selecting is single quotation marks, not double, because it's not a string, it's a single character. Okay, so second case will be M, and enclosed by the single quotation, as I just said, and cout will be the statement. You have chosen measurement converter, because we selected M, with two new lines at the end of that and a break. The next case we'll be doing is, I might change this letter to I. So I equals title now, not T. Now T is going to equal title temperature converter function. So now case T, when it's selected, cout, you have chosen temperature converter function with two new lines and a break. And next we'll need to enter a default case. So if one of them letters hasn't been selected, what's the application going to do? This is for a try catch statement. Try catch means that the user tried to do the right thing and didn't, so now that it's caught and output an exception with our cout statement, which is you have entered an incorrect value for this program. Please enter T for title, M for measurement converter, or T for temperature converter. Okay, we break them up with single lines so that it's in a list list format. So it's only displaying in one string on this in our program, but when it outputs to the user, it'll be displayed as a list because we've broken it up by single/n. Okay, so now we've finished the default case, and we finished the three cases that are available, which is I, T, and M. Okay, so next we'll need to give the user a choice of why they want to select the I, T, or the M. Otherwise, it's going to pop up with that, and they're not going to know what to do with that. So we need a cout statement that says, please enter I for, I'll just copy and paste this, save me time typing. Okay, so please enter I for title, M for measurement converter, or T for temperature converter. Okay, and the choice that they select is going to send input into choice. I'll come back to that. That's going to be an error there, but I'll come back to that, and you'll know why. On line 73, I should have had no S because it's not declared as a double. It's an ambiguous declaration, but I'll come back to that. Okay, now we'll be declaring that inside the int main, in the entry point, the first function we'll be calling is title, because now we've added a title function, and now we'll be calling it. Okay, so rub them 2 lines out. We won't need them anymore. That was only an example to show you how we call each function. Remember in the third quarter of the lesson. Okay, so title, and we'll be declaring after title runs showed choices function. Okay, so we've got no errors here. So F9 I used to debug. So line 16 we've got error choices, like I just said, was not declared. So we need to go up to the top there, and void choice needs to be declared as a function eligible for call. So we do that by void choices, open close bracket with the semicolon, and this goes under namespace using namespace standard. This lets the compiler know what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so inside the int main, I'll just quickly do a few more comments so you can understand what's going on. Okay, so now first off, it's going to run title, it's going to run choices. After choices has shown up, it's going to display a list with I, T, and M that the user can input, which is going to go into SYN. It's going to use the SYN input statement into choices. Okay, I'll just finish these comments off. Okay. Okay, so you understand what's going on. Switch is and the condition, which is choice. So if switch choice equals the user has inputted I, M, or T, and it's output into the function that we've called. Or we actually haven't called them yet. We'll enter that into the line. So as it is right now, we're only going to get a return 0 code because it's ran fine, but it hasn't been instructed by us as the coder to select which function we want trying to call. We've declared them, and we've set them as from the entry point. We've declared that title and choices are going to be called, but once choice has been called, it's going to return 0 because it hasn't declared what choice is what function has been called from the letter case switch statement that we've entered. Okay, I'll just fix this last comment. Okay, that's pretty much got that. So now we'll try a save and a compile with Control S and F9. Okay, so first error we got is line 70. There it is. SYN is choices. Like I said, it's the S hasn't been declared in choices, so I'll rub that S out and declare it as choice. So the int main. Okay, so now we'll run it just as title. So we can do a check that the title is not a problem. Okay, so we rub out that S now in the switch case statement, which is the condition. So switch and then choice. Okay, so we rub that error out. Okay, so line 70, we're still having problems with that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's rubbed out 8 errors just from that one line problem. Okay, so the S, you have to declare whatever variable you declare must be exactly spelt the same as your call for that function. Okay, so that's ran perfectly. Like I said, it's going to return a 0 code, 0 flag, which means that the program's ran fine, but we haven't declared what function to call after choices. Okay, I'll quickly add a few niceness lines here to the program name. I noticed that it wasn't very design pretty. Okay, so now we'll undo the choices. So choices should run now after title. So there we go. We've got the title, we've got the choices. That's because we're using the entry point and we're declaring which functions to call within it sequentially. Okay, so please enter a new line, your choice, and a new line. So like I said earlier, I, T or M. Okay, so now that's output that a little bit nicer. We might do a few more asterisks just to neaten it up. Otherwise it looks a little bit strange. Okay, we'll run that again, F9. There we go. It's all centralized now with a nice neat list. Okay, and the user's input I and T, yeah, I for T, sorry, title. So there we go. It's returned a 0 flag because title has no function to call after that. Okay, so same thing, we've chosen M, measurement converter's come up, but it's only it's only outputting statements right now. It's not declaring the function being called. Okay, so to do that, we need to get into the void choices and within the switch case method statements, and after the cout statement you have chosen title, we'll be entering title as the void function to call. So we do this by title, brackets, open and close, and the semicolon. Same as case M, before the break, needs to be measurement converter, open close brackets, followed by the semicolon. Okay, I've got that wrong there. I'll quickly come back to that in a second. Okay, same deal. We got a couple separated lines by /n. I'll just finish these comments off real quick. This is stating what each line is doing of this application that we've created so far. Copy and paste for these lines, since they're all pretty much similar, and I'll just rub out the difference. Okay, so these, like I said, that goes before the break. So we'll be calling for M. We'll be calling the function measurement converter. So rub that out, put that up there. Like I said, it has to be before the break. The break is the return exit code for that function, or for that function. Okay, so now we've got the cout statement for each case. We've got the function to call after the cout statement, and then we've broke for each case. Okay, so oops. Okay, so now run. If you go up to plugins, you can go down to the third down from the bottom and use A style, which will code structure your format in easy to read code structure. Okay, so we add a break on the last case. We add a break on the default case. Now we run it. Okay, so that runs fine. Okay, so we've got. You have selected chosen. I pushed I. I've chosen the temperature converter. I must have pushed T, sorry. What amount of degrees would you like to convert from C to Celsius to Fahrenheit and Kelvin? So that's ran fine, no problem there. Same as if I run it again, see that's ran that section there, the do while loop, because that's because I've selected T for temperature converter, and now it's running that until the user is selected to exit that function. Okay, we'll add a few new lines there so that it looks nicer. Okay, so now we've selected that needs to run. Needs to run again. So we've entered 100 as the millimeters to convert inches, and that's ran perfectly because we've selected M and then entered the number. Okay. See, now you could insert case switch statements there for once that if the user enters 0 because it's an integer, then it would exit that function. But we haven't done this on this lesson. I might cover it in the next one. Branch out on this example. But this has got the basic functions variables set up. It's called the functions as we've instructed it to, and it's used do while for the loop, so that the user can continually use that program until instructed otherwise to the program. Okay, so that's pretty much nice. So in this lesson we've covered do while, we've covered case switches, we've covered calling functions and setting functions, and we've covered void, and we've covered what will happen as a sequence within the program because of the call functions. Okay, now this is the cohesion and coupling lesson. Okay, so I'll just quickly add a nice compiled lesson onto my title function. Okay, this has pretty much got it. Okay, so if you have any questions or any problems, just pause the video for each comment. You'll know what each line's doing. If you have any other problems, just leave a comment in the video. Okay, I hope this has helped, and I hope you're looking forward to lesson 7. Okay, so we've pretty much covered it all. I've put a few new just basic design lines for each function, so that it neatens it up, separates it, so it's not all one bunched up heap of text. That's pretty much got it. Okay, so we've ran the program again. It's got a nice, neat central title. It's got a compiler message by the author, being me, HaKDMoDz. Obviously you wouldn't put HaKDMoDz there if you were typing this program, but you get the example. I just copied that wrong line. Control Z is undo, or Shift Control Z will undo. Will redo. Sorry. Yeah, undo is Control Z, and Shift Control Z is undo. Is redo. Sorry, got that wrong again. Huh? Okay, so we've got the nice neat code. Remember, nice neat code should be visibly easily read by the programmer, and also displayed in an output easily read to the user. So it might be easy for you to read, but when it comes to the program, you need to break it up for the user to visually be able to understand it. Okay, so I've separated that, got rid of 2 single lines, and I've put that into one separate conversion program application title. Remove one T so it's central. There we go. Okay, that looks nice. Okay, that's pretty much got it for this lesson. Stay tuned for the following lesson, lesson 7, which will be covering arrays. Hit the subscribe button now to follow my channel. Thank you for watching. I'm HaKDMoDz.